What up, everybody? All right. Looks like we are live, everybody. And audio is good. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat, so please let me know if we have buffering issues. I'm going to try to do this with audio video, but my internet has not been cooperating on the last couple of streams, so we shall see how that goes. Yeah, please let me know if the sound quality is good. Let me know if you have buffering issues. And I will do my darndest to keep an eye on the chat. So welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Hope you all are having a great Thursday evening upon the plane. So show of hands, who all has heard of Owen Benjamin before right now? And I know there's a bit of a delay, and I'll go ahead and answer the question. Makes for better audio than silence. I've actually watched some of his stand-up for the first time pretty recently, within the last couple of months, last 6-7 weeks. And got to tell you, I really enjoyed his stuff. I thought he was really funny, good comedian. And I like stand-up anyway, but, you know, there's only a handful of comedians, you know, out of all the thousands that I've seen, that I really relate to. And I think Owen Benjamin's was one of them, which is pretty cool. And the guy's coming out not necessarily as a flat earther, but as a very, very legitimate, in my opinion, globe earth skeptic, which we all know that's the natural place that you end up before you become a flat earther, because once you realize that there's absolutely no evidence for the spinning ball, there's no evidence for curvature, there's no evidence for motion, and the only arguments that you get are people who use the, you know, ad hominem attacks, call you an idiot, a moron, make completely unrelated arguments that have nothing to do with the topic in order to try to, I don't know, put a smokescreen, you know, confuse you. What I don't know, don't get it. But maybe this would help. Sorry, I'm still trying to get used to this setup here. It's not exactly the best, but let me know if it's working for you guys and if you're having any issues. But yeah, Owen Benjamin is a really brilliant comedian, and I was shocked. I saw it on Karen B's channel today, that he did about a 40 minute, basically a flat earth vlog. He's asking the right questions. He realizes that the only arguments you get for the globe is a bunch of nonsense flack and clear trolling. Because I'm sorry, like, you can tell once you've banned the same person 499 times, it's not a big surprise when somebody exactly like them, a carbon copy of all those 499 other people that you've permabanned, wind up back into your chat stream saying the same old nonsense circular arguments that do nothing but try to confuse the issue and make it appear as if the globe-tards, excuse the language, but they try to make it appear as if the globe-tards have a viable position in this argument, which they clearly absolutely do not. If there was any evidence for spinning, axial rotation, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, orbital motion, you know, over 66,600 miles an hour, allegedly. They say that the speed of the Earth on average around the sun is 18.5 miles per second. If you do 18.5 miles per second times 60 times 60, it is indeed 6,600 miles an hour. That's the alleged average speed of the Earth around the sun. And, you know, that's not even getting into the orbital velocities of the solar system, the sun itself. I mean, it's just absurd to claim that all of this conflicting curvilinear orbital motion at just mind-boggling speeds. If you think you can comprehend what 66,600 miles an hour is, give me a break. It's incomprehensible. That's like, you couldn't even fathom it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And, you know, when you look at the solar frame of reference, they say that's 500,000 almost, 500,000 miles an hour. So, you know, this is just completely absurd. If there was this sort of conflicting curvilinear trajectories going on for the Earth, the sun, the solar system, the galaxy, there would be some sort of evidence for it. And the argument that it's a fixed frame of reference is absurd. Anytime that you've got objects traveling, even at a consistent speed along a curvilinear path, angular acceleration must take place. It's manifest as centrifugal force everywhere in nature. And to say that that wouldn't apply to the spinning ball Earth because we don't feel any acceleration is the definition of ludicrous. I mean, it is bonkers. It makes absolutely no sense. And to call the spinning ball Earth that's orbiting around 3 different directions at once along conflicting curvilinear paths, which would be accelerations, and changes in these relative angles of these alleged paths as they curve around, and so does the other. It would be constant, never-ending, sweeping, massive, mind-boggling acceleration. I don't care. You would be able to measure for it at least once ever, but no, there is no evidence for this motion of the Earth. And even starting with axial rotation. So when you see people like Owen Benjamin coming out in this position saying, wait a minute, where's the evidence? The only thing I'm getting is just bonkers, ridiculous arguments and shilling. Well, so hopefully I'm able to get this to work. What I'm going to do real quick, guys, I'm going to try to play a bit of this. Let me know if it feeds back on you because I have my player window muted. This should work. I mean, I did some preliminary tests on my end before I started. So we'll just do a little sample and tell me what happens on your end. Please, people. Thank you. Karen B.
Oh, and talk more flat Earth. This is the thing I want to ask the round Earth people to explain to me. If the Earth is spinning at 700 miles an hour, 1,100 miles an hour, whatever.
Turn it down just a little bit.
Why isn't the air spinning? And before you answer real fast and say, oh.
Okay, so if you guys could please let me know the deal with that. Where are we? Here we are. So tell me if that was started feeding back or if that worked for you guys or what. So, and again, I was talking about the live streaming of his vlog. I could not hear it from my end because I've got my player window muted to save from. Good to go? Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Perfect. All right, great. Thanks, guys. So we'll get back into it. And this is awesome. I love this guy more than I ever did before.
It's all relative. It's all the same shit. The higher you go in the air, the less atmosphere there is until there's almost no atmosphere. Like 40,000 feet up, there's almost no atmosphere. So where is the break where you get away from the atmosphere in which it's no longer relative?
So, that's a question I've been asking a long time. So of lots of flat earthers, and that is a valid question. So you would expect, according to the ball earth theory, that because their whole argument for the east and west flight times being identical in some cases, or even once ever, is valid evidence against the spinning nature of the Earth, allegedly. But so what he's arguing here and what he's saying is that westbound flights should be traveling towards destinations that are traveling towards them, and eastbound flights should be racing against destinations. And the globe Earth argument for this is that the atmosphere is concrete, velcroed to the Earth, and it travels with the Earth. And if you think this argument through, basically what they're saying is that jet airplanes, aerodynamically, very awesome machines, jet airplanes, are somehow bound to the velocity of the wind, which is the opposite of the truth. Jet airplanes can travel hundreds of miles through the air in spite of the wind. Even against the wind, they can go hundreds of miles an hour. So the notion that the jets are being carried along with the atmosphere is somewhat valid. I mean, yes, the atmosphere behaves as a fluid, but anywhere in nature, if you try this out, objects traveling towards one another will meet in the middle much faster than similar objects racing against one another. It is as simple as, observe driving down the highway. The cars in front of you going down the highway in the same direction, you could go 65 miles an hour and they could go 65 miles an hour forever, and you'd never catch them. On the other hand, the cars traveling towards you on the freeway are going 65, you're going 65 in opposite directions, and they zoom past you at a relative velocity of 130 miles an hour, right? So to say that the spinning ball Earth is somehow immune to these immutable laws of physics is the definition, yet again, of bonkers, absurd, asinine, and this is a hallmark, telltale signature feature of globe Earth arguments. So anyway, he's right on the money, right out the gate. Love it. Let's keep going.
This is a lot harder than I expected, proving that the Earth is round. There's wind? No, there isn't. There's a 100-mile-an-hour wind at the at certain levels, like the jet stream. It's fucking weird. It is
Beep.
way harder. The jet stream's 100 miles an hour.
Hey,
You
can I
ever
have a
see
cigarette?
100-mile-per-hour winds? Yeah, 1,000 miles per hour ain't happening. Dude, I'm telling you, it's fucked up. When someone just said, dude, gravity, what does that mean? So, if the Earth is spinning 1,100 miles an hour, and the atmosphere somehow miraculously is attached to the Earth, is that what kind of friction is that? Sliding friction?
Sliding
Is
friction.
when the molecules are touching, so sliding friction is moving it along, right? Fine.
That's a valid point. I mean, that's something that I've tried to articulate before, but well done. Yeah, like what is allegedly keeping these disparate, diffuse molecules of atmosphere, miles above the Earth, in lockstep with the ground beneath as it spins and orbits and twirls around through the infinite cosmos, right? And by the way, just to add a layer to that, what prevents the molecules that are adjacent to the vacuum of space from expanding out to infinity? Gravity, really? I mean, the arguments here for the globe Earth, when you really get into it, and I'm glad that he is, they fall apart, every one of them. It's not just like one or two things and some stuff works in both models. No, it's like the globe Earth is ridiculous.
When you go up enough, there's no more atmosphere. So you are now just, like if you're in a hot air balloon that goes up 30,000 miles, there's no atmosphere. So why isn't the Earth flying by? Stop talking about this? Now you're banned. Why don't you join Cottington Bear?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I love it.
No one needs your shit. There's no wind because we are in a vacuum. We both know that doesn't make any sense. And I'm not a flat earth person. I want someone to fucking explain that to me. Atomic density, saying words don't explain anything. Just saying atomic density, friction. I just said that.
Don't you love how the Globetrotters do that so often? They'll just like bust out big words, and I think sometimes it is flurfers being cheeky, but yeah, I totally get it, man. It's and when you've seen that sort of argument for years, and it still continues on with the insults and the ad hominem, it just gets so old, man. It's like it makes you want to stop reading all comments forever. Like seriously.
Several types of friction. That friction would be the sliding friction, where it's two objects touching each other, kind of like two boards. You have to go at a certain speed. If you go too fast, you slip, right? So if you go at the right speed, you carry the other board with you. We have molecules of the atmosphere, and if it's attached to our spinning shit, fine. You go up 40,000 feet, there's no atmosphere, none. It's basically a vacuum. So where do you pop out of that situation? The jet stream, that's 100 miles an hour, not 1,100. And when you're out of the atmosphere, when you're going west,
I would say just a minor correction. The jet stream is not necessarily 100. It can go from what I remember reading, is that it can vary, from a couple hundred to several hundred miles an hour. 200-300 miles an hour. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 100. Maybe he's right, but I'm pretty sure that it's not just always 100. If that's what he's saying. So I don't know. But anyway, it's irrelevant though. So of course, what the globe earthers will do is they will say, oh, he said the jet stream is always 100. Therefore, the entirety of this video is null and void because he made one, grammatical error basically, or one calculation error. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous the lengths they go to try to discredit this argument. But anyway.
The east or east to west, I can't remember which way. Why is the Earth not flying by underneath you? You're not in that anymore. So far, no one's been able to explain that to me, which is fucking weird. Please comment on it. I would love to stay a globe Earth person because being a flat Earth person is another level of ostracism that I really don't want at all. So please, for the love of God, someone fucking explain to me why, when you leave the Earth's atmosphere, does the Earth not, at that point, appear to be going 1,100 miles an hour underneath you?
Well, and the globe Earth claimed that would be you have your angular momentum that's going to carry with you forever, infinitely, especially when you're dealing with airplane flights. They're going to say that if you're spinning east with the Earth at 1,000 miles an hour, no matter what you do, even if you accelerate to the west at 500 miles an hour, you remain going east at 1,000 miles an hour forever. And they'll even say that even when you leave the Earth's atmosphere, you continue going that direction. And the thing is, okay, if you're in a weather balloon, there's not going to be too much acceleration except for the winds aloft. And that can be east, west, north, south. It's not always just one direction as it should be on the globe. But the thing is like, any acceleration is going to be certainly not in the hundreds of miles an hour unless it gets into a jet stream. But when it pops out into the complete vacuum, the lack of hypothetical atmosphere, it's going to be more or less traveling with the spin of the Earth. And technically it would be, although technically it wouldn't, because of course, with altitude, if we're assuming a spinning ball Earth, with altitude, the higher you go in altitude, the length of that radius is going to increase. So if you're traveling east at this velocity, at this radius, at this altitude, then when you double that, you're going to increase your overall speed relative to this system in order to keep up with the ground below. Because, further down the axis, you're traveling further across the same amount of time as lower down on the axis. So again, with altitude, assuming a ball Earth, then you should be accelerating east to continue maintaining that zero velocity with the ground below. It's just naturally built into a spinning system that you would have to accelerate to maintain that 0 miles an hour. So yes, there should be acceleration, but when you pop out into the void of space, there would be no hypothetical atmosphere to carry you along. So in a sense, he's right. You should notice the motion of the Earth beneath you. And furthermore, the thing that always bugged me about this was the curved linear nature of alleged orbit. If you're in a hot air balloon, you're not going orbital velocities, and yet somehow, in order to maintain, a still ground beneath you from a weather balloon, approaching those very low density atmospheric layers, there is no velocity wind to carry it along with it, and so it is relatively stationary, and it's not looking good for the globe. But that's the long drawn out, I'd probably just confuse the crap out of everybody explanation. But the fact of the matter is the Earth is clearly absolutely stationary, and it solves all of this mind gymnastics with a very simple, observable, self-evident truth. So that's the beautiful thing about flat Earth is you don't have to be, you don't even have to think about this nonsense that you must think about and agree with in order to continue believing in the ball Earth. So there you have that.
Please. And I'm here's another one. Why do flights not go around the poles?
Good question.
Please explain this to me, because I do not like where the logic is taking any of this.
Because the Earth is not a ball.
Fun. It's actually incredibly isolated, and I don't want it at all. The last thing I need in my life is to be given another label that makes me look insane. That sounds awful. Someone said not flat. Well, please fucking tell me how you can go up into near Earth orbit and stay still, and the Earth is not flying by if it's spinning on a goddamn axis.
Ooh.
Oh,
sorry, I have no editorial, y'all.
Can you? The fuck? Inertia. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing, and we both know it.
Inertia.
It just says inertia.
Every time I hear that, it really brings me back to the so-called debate I did with Dr. Grinley, Harvard professor, NASA employee or subcontractor, complete, well, I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy. But one of the things that I asked him during that conversation was, does he agree with many modern scientists that inertia may be an electromagnetic force? And he said, absolutely not. And he proceeded to give like literally verbatim the textbook definition of inertia, which boils down to an object has inertia because it has inertia. That's more or less the explanation of it. And frankly, popular scientists have no freaking clue what inertia is. And it actually makes a lot of sense to me that it's an electromagnetic thing. You turn your car right and you go left. That's your inertia. But what causes that? To me, it's very reminiscent of a magnetic repulsion. So maybe it has something to do with the magnetic nature, static electric nature of the Earth itself, and has nothing to do with little particles wanting to, naturally wanting to continue in a line of constant course as long as not accelerated in some other direction. I mean, what is that tendency? What causes that tendency? And perhaps it is something electromagnetic in nature. So anyway, just thought I'd get off on that tangent.
You don't think I know about inertia? The Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. Nope. Nope. It's getting bent. Oh, maybe you're saying nope, not spinning. Owen is dumber than I thought, says Martin. Okay.
He's
Martin,
ruthless with the bands. I'll be right back, you guys. I'll let it run. You guys are probably sick of hearing me anyway.
Not dumb. If I was dumb, 3,552 people wouldn't be watching me after 2 hours and 11 minutes of me just talking. Dumb people don't retain that amount of people. Gravity can't explain. No, it doesn't. It doesn't explain shit. Well, you're just stupid. You're just a stupid person. You're just a dumb inertia. What the fuck does that mean? You're just a stupid person. The worst is, like, I obviously understand physics. I got 790 out of 800 on my physics PSATs, right? It's like one question I got wrong. I understand physics very, very well, not on a level of like MIT or anything like that, but on a basic, way above average level, I understand the principles of physics. The Earth isn't flat. That's fucking insane. Why can no one explain to me how the globe is spinning at 1,100 miles an hour? And if you break the fucking atmosphere, even out of relative, whatever relative is, and you're flying in a direction opposed to the spinning, why don't you double your speed? Like if you're going 1,100 miles an hour, why is it not 2,200 miles an hour if the Earth is going the opposite direction? What the fuck is that? So far, I've got nothing on it. No one can explain it. The term genocide was coined by the Jew Raphael Lemkin in his 1944 book, Axis, Rule, and Occupied Europe. The concept of genocide is arguably not even a real thing, just another Jew thing. Very interesting, Jesse. I'm pretty sure it is a real thing. I'm on a new topic about the spinning Earth. Looking at radio frequency theory and the different layers of atmosphere and how each layer affects each frequency based on its composition is based on a mixture of gravity and particle density. Okay, guys, all the people saying that the Earth is round, there's no way they understand the particle density and radio theory. So when they say everyone's retarded who thinks the Earth is flat, they don't understand why they think the Earth is round, is my bottom line. They don't. So
That's so funny.
Just go, oh, well,
I could hear him from in there. I just rolled me a couple cigarettes. But everything that guy said is spot on. Like, this guy is killing it. Like, when I first saw that he was coming out as a, globe Earth skeptic, as they say, I was a little bit skeptical because, how have we been treated by the celebrities? The basketball players, the wrestlers did okay, the newscasters, and now the comedians. But I'll tell you what, the guy he's spot on, man. I think his heart is definitely in the right place. He's after the truth. And of course, if you're looking for the truth and you look into flat Earth with a clean heart, right? You're gonna find some crazy stuff. I mean, we know it, right? We all know it.
Clearly, just radio theory and fucking frequency and fucking particle. No, you don't know. You don't know, and you're trying to fucking hold on to something that you don't understand. And that's the problem I have, is people with this condescending, shitty attitude, but they don't actually know anything. You go, oh, I mean, you're such a fucking idiot. Like, why would then explain to me how you can go above the atmosphere and you do not see a spinning Earth? Explain to me how NASA shows us images.
And on that point, I'm sorry, but the trolls are going to have a field day with that, because they still to this day do the whole angular momentum argument with me, But I'm sorry, when you start telling me that it doesn't matter how fast you accelerate in any direction, you're always going to be 100% stuck to the spinning ball Earth's velocity, no matter what you do, because of the wind. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, airplanes, aerodynamics is basically the science of reducing drag and increasing thrust. Okay, and so to say that jet airplanes are bound to the velocity of the wind and the spinning Earth forever, even if they're going in the opposite direction as the spin at, you know, hundreds or even maybe 1,000 miles an hour, that'd be like Mach 2, right? So, I mean, whatever, man. He's absolutely right. Spot on.
Of the Earth that are photoshopped. The clouds are fucking duplicates of the other clouds in the fucking thing.
Mhm.
Does that not ring any bells? And I'm incapable of going with lies. I'm fucking capable of it. The Earth isn't flat. There's no fucking way the Earth is flat. That would probably cause me some type of nervous breakdown if that were the case.
Oh my God.
So can someone, for the love of everything good, explain to me without nonsense talk like, oh, inertia. Oh, inertia. Do you know what inertia means? Do you understand the calculations of inertia? No, you fucking don't. It doesn't answer a goddamn thing just to say inertia.
Okay.
Why the fuck a spinning globe, when you're going against it, it doesn't fly underneath you? What you and Amy are doing is more important than I think you realize. You're totally authentic, non-PC bitches, preaching family values, not putting up with anything the media is the media is amazingly. Yeah, thank you very much. No, Amy's unbelievable. Coriolis effect proves the Earth isn't flat. I believe that as well.
That's a point of contention with me. The Coriolis effect, basically what that boils down to, okay, in a nutshell, is that if an object is fixed to a rotational frame of reference, then it doesn't have to be a large scale spinning ball Earth, it can be a merry-go-round, and that object is forcefully accelerated and released out and away from that rotational frame of reference, it will absolutely not maintain its rotational frame of reference around the axis, as it were, when it was firmly secured to the rotating primary body. So in other words, if you're on a merry-go-round and you throw a ball, it's going to appear, so let's say you're rotating counterclockwise, if you throw a ball across the axis, it's going to appear to veer off to the left, if I've got that right. Because, in fact, the ball will have gone straight, but according to your rotational frame of reference, it will appear to have gone off to the left, and vice versa for if you're going clockwise. And maybe I've got that backwards. It's left for clockwise and right for counterclockwise. But either way, the point is that objects that are not secured or no longer secured to a rotational frame of reference and accelerated away from that rotational frame of reference will absolutely not ever maintain that rotational frame of reference. And anybody can do an experiment to prove this. It's not even worth talking about. It's another one of these immutable laws of nature. And everybody's experienced it. You wouldn't be able to walk around or swing on a jungle gym or do anything if you didn't understand these basic physical laws to the point to where you don't even have to think about them. That's how obvious it is to us. And so to claim that the Coriolis effect proves the globe is ridiculous, because the Coriolis effect demands that if a jet airplane takes off from this hypothetical rotational frame of reference and accelerates to the west, it will absolutely not maintain that rotational frame of reference. That is the Coriolis effect. Now, what people claim the Coriolis effect to be responsible for is the counter rotational velocity of cyclones in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemiplane, if you will. And this is not exclusive to the Coriolis effect. It is assumed that the Earth is a spinning ball, and the Coriolis effect causes this counter-rotation of cyclonic forces. Although the fact of the matter is, it can easily be explained by the path of the sun and the moon, which essentially perturb the atmosphere, perturb the waters, perturb the pressure system. The sun clearly heats up the atmosphere and the waters. The moon, depending on how full it is, clearly cools down the atmosphere and the waters. And so you have this sort of mixing effect of all of the atmosphere and the waters in the world. And north and south of that mixer, which is primarily the sun, you get the counter-rotational velocities, just as if you put a canoe oar through the water. If you do it just right, you'll get two cyclones that go out and away from your oar in counter-rotational velocities. So to say that the Coriolis force is proven by counter-rotational velocities of cyclonic forces is absurd. It is assumed and taken for granted as an independent proof, but it has never ever been shown that the Coriolis effect is responsible for those counter-rotational velocities of cyclonic forces. And in fact, it does appear that the line between which these counter-rotational cyclonic forces differentiate varies depending on the season, which actually goes in favor of the flat Earth. Okay, but so for him to just agree, and we're all probably guilty of it, somebody throws a word at you that you may not understand the concept, but the other part of the Coriolis force is claimed by snipers. So, and it's not actually claimed by snipers, it's claimed by sniper handbooks, and no sniper that you ever talk to actually figures this in. And if they do, they're probably dealing with the gyroscopic drift of the bullet. So I actually called some rifle manufacturers a couple of months ago, and basically in the northern hemisphere, by default, you get a clockwise rotating barrel. So, you know, a rifled barrel has spiraled grooves throughout the barrel so that it causes the bullet to spin, turning the bullet into a gyroscope, which gives it better trajectory, better accuracy. It's just better to have your bullet spinning, right? And by default, you're going to get a clockwise right spinning bullet, at least in the northern hemisphere. And they call left spinning bullets left-handed, but you have to get those custom made. And I actually called around a few places and nobody could tell me where to get one. So maybe my guess is maybe they're common in the southern hemisphere where the Coriolis force should be opposite, and yet what they're doing is they've just got the counterclockwise barrels perhaps in the southern hemisphere. So I didn't go so far as to call any southern hemisphere rifle manufacturers, but I did call several in the north, and all of them told me they couldn't help me out if I wanted a left-handed barrel. So anyway, gyroscopic drift causes, unless you're dealing with super long shots, it's comparable to the alleged Coriolis force over, say, 1,000 or 2,000 yards, which is a pretty common sniper shot, right? When you're dealing with miles, then the gyroscopic effect would be more. The Coriolis effect would be much more, hypothetically. But what it does appear is that what you're actually measuring when you call it the Coriolis force is the gyroscopic drift, which is going to happen due to the direction of the spin of the rifle round. Furthermore, I did read in a sniper handbook that the Coriolis force was not dealing with the Coriolis effect of the spinning ball Earth, but was dealing with the Coriolis effect on the spinning bullet itself, because any rotating object is going to deal with this Coriolis force. And it does appear that the gyroscopic drift and any Coriolis force has to do with the spinning of the bullet and not the spinning of the Earth, because, well, the Earth doesn't spin. But anyway, so that was the long and short answer to the Coriolis force. It proves nothing. It is a conjecture, assumption, and just claiming something to be exclusive to a sphere, as ridiculous as the counter-rotational velocity of cyclonic forces in either hemisphere, which there is no evidence to support that claim. It is just conjecture.
I really hope you have more than the Coriolis effect.
You don't have that. Just saying.
Really hope you have more than that, guys. Really hope you have more than the Coriolis effect. If the Earth is flat, why lie about it being round? What is the point? I can tell you a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Look at the nihilistic culture we find ourselves in. You know, we all grew up on planet Earth, and the first thing that it does is it discredits Christianity and the Hindu religion and Judaism and Buddhism and Hinduism and ancient Mayan beliefs and ancient Sumerian beliefs, Egyptian, Greek, Roman. I mean, all of the ancient cultures clearly knew that the Earth was stationary and was not a spinning ball. They all knew it. And so by discrediting the ancients and making them seem freaking stupid somehow, it makes us on our little hypothetical spinning balls seem all superior, when in fact they were right all along. And the spinning ball Earth theory does discredit all religions. All ancient cultures seem to be silly. And basically it instills in us this viewpoint, this paradigm, that the Earth is insignificant, and no matter what decisions we make or actions we choose over our lifetime, Nothing's really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. And in fact, if the little speck of dust Earth were to disappear in 10 seconds from now, never to be seen again, it wouldn't affect anything in the grand scheme of things, according to the spinning ball Earth infinite space hypothesis. When in fact the Earth is the physical plane, this is all that there is, and nothing is more precious than the Earth and in fact life on Earth. And so it gives us the opposite paradigm of the truth. It founds us in a quagmire of deception from the time that we're old enough to think for ourselves and before then. So for people to ask, well, what difference does it make, is proof that they are part of, that they are within this matrix of deception. And it is sad. I mean, we need to help these people, but you know, it makes it difficult when they basically bite your ankles every time you try to help them.
I used to teach RF theory to the military and government. Would love a conversation someday with you about it if you would be willing to. Of course I would. I might start a whole Skype channel and just like, if you guys say interesting shit, I just fucking bring you in. If the Earth is flat, I may tap out of YouTube for a while. Like that would fuck me up.
Funny.
But I am not enjoying the path that this is taking me on, because the arguments for the Earth being round are not very strong at all.
Right.
Like at all.
Yeah, right.
And this is something I would never, ever question, ever. And another thing is, when I questioned that the moon landing didn't happen, like everybody was like, oh, in a month he'll think the Earth is flat. Oh, this retard's gonna think the Earth is flat. To the point where I, as a bloodhound, I smelled that some shit was going on. That's like if you're like, oh, imagine if I was criticizing the Jews, and I was like, oh, the Jews are up to some shit, and someone's like, oh, in a month he'll say the Holocaust didn't happen. Fortunately, they're not doing that, which makes me think the Holocaust did happen. Yeah. Oh, my fucking power just went out. Ben, you're becoming a contrarian.
And while we're on this, I guess I better check in on the chat and see, am I still streaming? Is everything still good, you guys? Yeah, I guess there's no complaints, so I will assume that everything's good unless I start getting phone calls from you guys. Anyway, okay, so let's go back onto it then. Where are we? Here it is.
Well, you are now banned for life. Hang on a second. I can fix that, guys. Watch this. Watch this shit. You think they can take this from me? No. I'm still here, baby. I'm not going anywhere. I'll light this baby with fire. Watch this. They just turned off the power of my house.
That is crazy. What?
All right, so the power just went out. Nothing weird about that, huh? Where the hell is Coddington Bear when I need him?
Oh my goodness.
I'm not on board with the flat earth thing at all. I'm just finding the arguments for round earth to be, because I'm preparing to debate this Eric Dubay guy, and so I want my fucking arguments concrete, right? And hey, love, what happened to the electricity? And guys,
so wait, he's actually going to debate Eric Dubay? Like, okay, as many disagreements as I have with Eric Dubay on lots of topics, I will tell you that any globe earther doesn't have a damn chance to debate Eric Dubay. He knows his stuff back and front, just like all the other flat earthers worth their salt. And, you know, I think Eric is an excellent proponent for flat earth. I just, you know, I think it's a shame that his work took him to places that, I don't know, maybe went a little too far for the flat earth discussion. You know, you can call me a shill and a troll, and he's called me all that and worse. But I will still say that I'm glad that Eric is out there representing flat earth, because he's no dummy, and he does a good presentation. So that's great. But in terms of this guy here going to debate him, I really hope he's got his dancing shoes on. That's what, that's all I can say.
The arguments for round Earth are horrible. What's that?
Damn right they are.
I believe the surrogate wasn't the Jews. Oh yeah, we don't need that. How about until the flat earthers can build their own rockets and take pictures, we don't stress over it? Well, NASA has been proven to be the biggest liars on the fucking planet.
Damn right. Damn right.
So,
yeah.
And they have, like, a bunch of flat earth people have gotten balloons to go up 120,000 feet, and they take pictures of a world with no curve.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with any of it, neither are you, but I'm just reporting the fucking facts. And don't get mad at me, man. Don't fucking blame the messenger, dude. I'm like in this thing to win it, and I'm not gonna fucking go in there half-cocked and be like, dude, the earth is round. Just look at the fucking shit.
Oh, he's gonna lose so hard. I had no idea.
It's not easy to prove, guys, because I don't do sophistry or wizardry in debates. I'm not going to go in and shame someone or use tricks, rhetoric tricks. I want hard motherfucking evidence that the earth is round. And I've never...
Well, and the problem with that stance, and that's very valiant of him to want to hold that position, but unfortunately, there is absolutely no evidence that you can point to that shows Earth curvature and Earth axial rotation and orbit and all the rest. That the evidence does not exist. So the people that continuously debate from the globe troll side, and we know who they are, that's all they have. All they have is rhetoric tricks. I think one of the first, and maybe it wasn't that stupid show that all the flat earthers go on and they just gang up on them. I don't even know the name. Non sequitur. Right. I think the first one of those I saw, there was a flat earther. I can't remember who it was. And they basically filibustered the conversation for the first 30 minutes until I finally turned it off, because the flat earther was arguing the vacuum of space and where does that start and where does the atmosphere end. And basically they filibustered the conversation by trying to get him to define a vacuum. And basically the guy was like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, space, infinite space isn't technically a vacuum. There are particles and planets, so it's not by definition a vacuum. But of course, I mean, all the guy really had to say was relatively lower pressure environment, and there's your vacuum. High pressure always physically travels to low pressure. That's the way nature operates. We don't have to answer the question why. It doesn't have anything to do with gravity or, whatever. That is what it is, que sera, sera, right? It's valiant of him, but that's all the Globers have, is they can filibuster the conversation, they can ad hominem attack you, they can insult you, they can insult your intelligence, your character, your sanity, and at the end of the day, if you're looking for evidence that the earth has curvature and motion and all the rest, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're going to have to eventually come over to the flat earth side or start trolling and doing the filibuster conversations and ad hominem attacks and such.
And up there. So listen, I get chasing the time zones, all that shit. Just, oh, sweet. Just someone give me a concrete, obvious fucking thing to let me win this fucking debate. Do your research then, Owen. Okay, now you're banned. You don't think I do research? You don't think I do this for what, 10, 12 hours a fucking day?
Right.
I listen to shit while I'm doing fence work all day, and then I look it up in books. I know the earth is round.
Oh, and by the way, this guy is an excellent pianist. I just got to say, if you haven't heard him play the piano, he's great. He really is.
Let's see if I can get the other camera. This camera's gay. It makes me look like a faggot.
Oh my god.
Hey, my name's Owen. Here we go. Better camera. I miss the word faggot. That's why I say it. Here's how I would try to explain it. Since the earth is spinning, so is air attached to the surface of the planet. When you fly in the direction of the opposite of the spin, you are fighting at speed. Right. So if you're not in the air,
Yes, I am. It's
right?
upstairs.
And don't fucking get mad at me if this makes your head hurt.
Okay.
Just
he's
know
there?
that I'm not
Okay,
trying
let's
to
get the
fuck with
wrong
you,
part.
okay?
All right, thank you. All right.
If the
John,
air
Domino's
is part of the
outside.
spin and you get
Knocking
above the
somewhere.
air, which is what
Okay, guys, bear with me 1 second. I've got to go get the door. I'm not going far. So this will be a little intermission. Wow, how far did we get in this thing? So, okay, so we're a little less than halfway done. All right, sweet. Let's get my cold replacement. Hey, right here, buddy, over here, over here. Okay, but thank you. All right, you too. Okay, y'all. Sorry about that there. Righto.
flights do. Why are you still subject to the subjective relative air movement of the spin of the Earth? Let's say the air is cemented to the Earth, which already is weird because if you spin a ball in water, the water doesn't stay with the ball, maybe a little bit, but not really. Let's say the air is completely with the spin of the Earth. You are now above the air. Why the fuck are you still subject to the relative spin of the Earth? If you're,
You know, that's a valid point as well. I mean, he's hitting the nail on the head, and I like that analogy. If you submerge a bowling ball in water and spin it, the water in the tank doesn't spin around with it. So why does the atmosphere? And their answer is, well, it's been spinning since the Earth was formed, so it's just always been spinning. That's what they say, and that's just, it's absurd, man. But you know, that's how globetrotters do, right?
going against the spin, why are you not going twice as fast? And don't just say you're a retard, you're a conspiracy. What the fuck? Hang on. Already in motion inertia, that doesn't mean anything. Do you guys seriously think that already in motion inertia means anything in this? Like, please look up the words you fucking use. Fuck it. I'm gonna wind down.
So this is too funny. This guy starts researching flat Earth so he can debate Eric Dubay, and he's actually an honest person. He's not a shill, and he's like an actual like a normal person, and he's realizing this is like, we all went through this, right? He's going through the metamorphosis right now, and like he's like halfway there. I called Christopher Green, not called him, but like about a month before Christopher Green from AMTV came out as a flat earther. I think it was like last Christmas time or something last year. I called it. I'm like, dude, because he did a video where he said he was getting ready to do some truth bombs and he never said what for. I'm like, oh, Christopher Green's a flat earther. This guy's there, man. He's there. Wow. Big score with this one.
That doesn't mean anything. Already in motion inertia. What does that mean? If I had a gun to your fucking head and say, define what you just said, what does that mean? You would say, oh, I mean, hang on, Owen telescope, hang on. Owen telescope. So all the planets and moons we see through a telescope are round, so Earth is the only planet in our solar system that's flat. Really? Okay, retard. Imagine they're all flat discs, right? Do we see spheres in the sky?
Well, and see, here's where this isn't to me where I'm sitting. You know, I'm not claiming to be any guru here, but that's a novice sort of error because he's still entrenched in infinite space theory. But the idea of disks in space and the Earth being a disk in space to me is ridiculous. It's just as absurd as the spinning ball Earth. The idea of infinite space with other worlds flying around is just absurd. We've got the physical plane with the celestial lights overhead. You know, that's it. There are no potential destinations in the sky. You're never going to land on a disk in the sky. The Earth is not a disk in the sky. The Earth is the physical plane, and the lights in the sky are lights in the sky.
Dude, I'm getting angry because everybody that's acting like I'm retarded has not thought through any of their arguments. So if we see a bunch of circles in the sky, does that mean they're spheres or fucking dinner plates? You can't prove it. You can't prove it. That isn't a fucking argument. And if you're just gonna hang me out to dry, like I'm gonna go argue somebody, and your whole argument is you look in the sky and you see circles, and that means something is a fucking sphere. Oh, and you're not that smart? Well, now you're gone. Because my IQ is yours when it... I'm not getting angry at you. I'm getting angry at the concept that I can't win this debate.
That's so funny because he's like, that's so true. Like, if you actually do your homework in a flat Earth and prepare for a debate against somebody who knows their stuff in both models, you're setting yourself up for failure. I made a video a couple years ago called "Either You're a Flat Earther or You're Not Prepared," and the gist of the video was that in researching flat Earth to prepare for a debate, either you become a flat earther or you're a poor researcher. There's no in between. So, yeah.
And I have 3,600 fucking people right now. Hang on, you're not dumb. You're smart for the thought. Dude, take a pill. Way too much trauma, bro. Well, you're now banned for life.
Wow, he's
trauma.
ruthless.
This is what thoughts are. I've had 4 drinks. I just hung out with my wife. I'm having a great time. Owen, was this? Also, how can you see trillions of miles away? It's all nonsense. All nonsense. Someone please explain it to me.
Yeah, let me get out my P900 that can zoom in 350 million miles away to Saturn or whatever, right? Yeah.
Isn't retarded. Some people are thinking centrifugal force. That doesn't mean anything, and we both know that doesn't mean anything. How come when you look at a boat going out to sea and it vanishes at the viewer's convergence point, look through a pair of binoculars, you can see the boat again? The Earth it can't be flat. I mean,
that's so funny because even though he was just reviewing evidence that proves the Earth is indeed flat and water doesn't curve around a ball, he's still stuck in that rut. He'll come out of it because he's going down the right path, asking the right questions. If this guy comes up out the other end of this saying, "Oh, I looked into flat Earth, but it's bogus," then he was a shill all along, because you can't get this deep into it and not realize, unless you get totally taken over by misinformation and all these smart people who are just really trolls. I mean, if you think the CIA has deep pockets, all these clandestine agencies, this was the biggest hoax ever. This is the Great Deception. Do you think they don't have, J-Trigs, GCHQ agents in place to filter and to not capture, but to infiltrate these sort of higher profile people in order to guide them where they want them to go? And so hopefully Owen Benjamin comes out the other side of this, with a true heart, right? That's the only thing. And after the truth.
Would just be insane. I don't. Oh, Eric, I won't destroy you too bad. I'm gonna win, you little cunt. That's why I'm fucking. Oh, Eric is actually here taking notes. I'm gonna win, Eric.
Eric's gonna kick his ass if he actually goes for the globe.
I need my people to fucking give me some intel. It's all science fiction, not an argument. Space is a vacuum, not an argument. Do you guys know what arguments are? Does anyone know what a fucking argument is? You're getting there, my friend. You're on the right track. I'm not getting in the flat Earth cult. No, sorry, I'm not going to be disrespectful. That's sophistry.
That was a bit disrespectful, wasn't it?
Mocking them for thinking something that I find ridiculous. Space is water. I don't know what that means. That's fucking insane. If you can take a variety of snapshots through a telescope of another planet and see if it's rotating, that's one of the worst arguments I could possibly imagine. So it's like saying, does my dog have rabies? Well, I can see that dog that doesn't have rabies. This is
my
this
God.
is a fucking nightmare. This is literally a nightmare trying to fucking disprove this thing. Well, if you look through your binoculars and see another dog without rabies, that means your dog doesn't have rabies. What?
Oh my God.
Does that mean?
Wow.
Owen, your in motion keeps moving. Okay, Jason, if you are not in a medium that is moving, how does that apply? Let's say you see a river flying by you and you are in the air looking at the river because you're standing on the riverbank. Are you in motion because you can see a river in motion? Of course not. That's an insanely stupid argument. If the atmosphere is all moving with the Earth, flying around at 1,100 miles an hour.
Again, and the only way they can argue that is to say that because you started out spinning with the Earth, it doesn't matter which latitude, right? You could start at the North Pole, spinning 0 miles an hour around the equator, travel to the equator where you should be naturally heading west at 1,000 miles an hour. No, you're always stapled and sewed into the Earth's rotational velocity because the atmosphere at that latitude just somehow knows how fast to spin and what radius to spin. It is absurd. That's the only argument they have for that. There is no argument, Mr. Benjamin. You're gonna have a hell of a time in this debate, buddy. I'm telling you, brother.
And you are out of the atmosphere, which happens in low Earth orbit or the average Delta flight. How in the fuck are you still subject to being in that medium? That doesn't make any sense. Because you are moving when still first. That means absolutely nothing, and we both know it. Drag means nothing. Science can't prove the Earth moves. It literally can't, and this is fucking awful. The ISS is going 17,000 miles per hour around the Earth. How does NASA dock with it from the Earth going that fast? LMAO. Gravity, that's not an argument. How does water stick to a spinning ball? Research the difference between velocity and speed. I know the difference between velocity and speed. What the fuck does that matter?
Wow. Damn
if
right.
we hover over Earth, can we get to Australia faster? Guys, this is a nightmare. This is literally a fucking nightmare. You cannot prove or disprove gravity. It's based on faith. You're gonna shut Owen down at magnetism. I tried to prove the spinning globe. I failed hard. It's so fucking hard to prove. 1,100 miles per hour, but it still takes 24 hours to make one rotation. Well, I don't know. I haven't done the math on that. Really hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's natural. The equator's 25,000 miles around or thereabouts. Divide that by 24 hours, and you get just over 1,000 miles an hour.
Owen can prove the Earth is round. Me too, Penny. Take an astronomy course at your local university. Now you're banned. I've obviously taken astronomy courses, and that's not an argument.
Right.
My IQ is higher than any college professor at any of these colleges. So, good times. Owen, we see too far. It's a pleasant, God-inspiring dream. The shadow on lunar eclipse of the Earth is round. Fuck. Okay, another weird thing is that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but it's 400 times farther away, making it an exact eclipse, and they're both circles. Circle is not sphere.
Well, only according to the globe Earth theory are the sun and the moon, that disparate and different in size and distance. And in fact, it stands to reason that, perhaps the sun and the moon are similar. Maybe they are similar of size and distance. And there is apparently a variable between the two as well. And this is evidenced by annular eclipses, which during a solar annular eclipse, the moon transits the sun and creates a ring of sun around the moon. And of course, during total solar eclipses, the moon completely transits the sun, leaving the entire thing black. And so that is evidence that the apparent angular size of the sun and the moon change. Not saying that their distances or sizes change, but the apparent angular sizes change. And again, there's evidence for that. It's not a theory. And so in the globe Earth theory, they have the orbit of the moon and the orbit of the Earth being, offset ellipses to account for this sort of thing. But in the flat Earth reality, it could be the distances are changing. It could be a number of things. It could be the atmospheric conditions, magnetic conditions. But anyway, that's a bit of conjecture. But it is entirely conjecture, the idea that the sun and the moon are 400 times, the sun's 400 times more distant and larger. That's an absurd coincidence in the heliocentric theory, and it doesn't do anything against the flat Earth fact. So just saying.
As it waxes and wanes, doesn't the moon's shadow at least point to it being spherical? No, it does not. There's no way to do that. That's a two-dimensional image. My college astronomy professor came off as a homeless crazy person. He probably was. There's going to be a lot of people just attacking me personally now. I don't give a fuck.
Damn right they are.
What's the flat Earth theory on the horizon? I have no idea. I'm not a flat Earth person. The Earth is not flat. That's fucking psychotic. One day takes 24 hours, very slow spin. Okay, you're not answering any. Is anyone else feeling a little nervous about this? Globe Earth, biggest line history.
You should be.
Search Owen.
The Earth is
Electric
flat.
Universe theory explains and answers many of your questions. No, it doesn't. I may ban you. It is logical to doubt cancer exists if I've never had it and don't understand how it's. Is that really your argument? That if you don't understand cancer, that proves the fucking Earth is round? Come on, man. There's 3,556 people here, and no one has a fucking argument that the Earth is round.
Damn right they don't. Wow.
Like, what? Can you... Geologists and physicists are full of crap. Okay, you're now banned. Because your appeal to authority is what children do, and it's also what causes genocide. So good for that. Good on you for.
It's funny though, because I was talking with my buddy Phil the other day, and we noticed that the 10% crescent moon was well over the horizon after sunset, which is geometrically not possible according to the globe. And basically, the conversation came up that to me, it's still astonishing that all of astronomy missed this basic, simple thing that the full moon should not be visible during the day, according to the ball Earth theory, and the crescent moon should not be visible hours after sunset, according to the same. And yet, there they are, testaments to the ludicrous absurdity of the ball Earth theory. And yet, somehow, all of astronomy for the last 500 years or 2,000 years, say, missed it. Of course, it's ridiculous that, Eratosthenes believed in the ball Earth. He came up with some experiments and some assumptions, allegedly, but, the first globes weren't even built until 1492, right? Just like the same year Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What a coincidence.
Authority, you fucking cunt.
Oh.
Dupay will use some wizardry on you and gatekeep. Right, that's why I need truth. Truth beats all wizardry. Someone please give me some fucking science that proves the Earth is round.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
I know it's crazy. They have no proof. Guys, there's no proof. Where's the globe trolls when you need them? Dude, and this is not a flat Earth channel. 95% of the people here believe the Earth is round. It's the 1,100 miles per hour accurate. How, dude? Not please, God, someone give me an argument. Who looks for truth in a YouTube chat? Well, not you anymore, Larry. By the way, the only people named Larry are pedophiles and mailmen. I can't argue for moon phases without the moon being a sphere. You got to be kidding me. Is this public education? You can't land a plane on a spinning globe. Oh, God, this is a fucking nightmare. I can't be a flat Earth person.
That is too funny.
I can't be a flat Earth person. There's zero proof that you're spinning. Dude, literally, there's none. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here because this is so fucking depressing. It's mind blowing. Why do some people think that the Earth's that it's the flat Earthers that are ridiculous when mainstream science, after a dozen supposed moon landings and billions of thousands of satellites, and they still rely on shit to prove heliocentric? Open up Google Earth. This conversation will be a lot more simple when everyone can see the current model and scale Earth, it's 3D globe, you can move around. So your answer is Google Earth. That's the proof. And you guys are fine with that proof. You're like, oh, that's cool. That's all I need. If I do Google Earth, everything makes sense. Is there no math? Is there no fucking math? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Here's this concave.
Oh.
Here's your answer. It's flat because Jesus.
There goes Lord Stephen Christ, the regular person named Stephen. Yeah, that's about a psyop if I've ever seen one, in my opinion.
Oh, and you're a flat Earth person and just figuring out. No, I'm not a flat Earth person. That's insane.
He is. He's totally a flat earther. Totally.
Google Earth. That's the answer. Google. You fucking children. It's a cosmological map. The thing that's bothering me the most is how many people believe something that they've never thought about. But they don't, their arguments are literally like, well, look on Yahoo, idiot. I gotta go. This is fucking horrifying. Long ago, I compared spinning a bucket of H2O around from my shoulder. When the water stands still due to gravity created, it made me understand our spin. I don't understand that, Mariko. Please help me understand. Southern hemisphere constellations are different than northern. How can it be flat if what we see in the sky and the direction they move are different? Love you.
So, that's something that comes up a lot. You have apparent counter rotation of the southern stars versus the northern. And at the end of the day, we do not understand the lights in the night sky. The Globers love to point to these certain things and say that it's exclusive to a sphere, but it definitely appears that, and if you model this out, and there are excellent videos that could detail this in great detail, if you model it out, a flat Earth with atmosphere that acts as a lens, as it definitely does, you get refraction, and it actually works very nicely for the southern stars. And when you also have the magnetic field of the Earth perturbing light in sort of unknown ways to unknown degrees, anything's possible. And at the end of the day, if you spin a disco ball around with laser beams all over it, are you really going to say, oh, well, the disco ball spinning that way over here and this way over there, so therefore the room we're in is a sphere? I mean, it's absurd.
I still believe the Earth is round, so I'm sure that's a great argument. Can we please have something that won't have an answer? The best way to win a fucking debate, and I've never pussied out in a debate before,
He's gonna
is not like that argument doesn't hammer drop. That's not a mic drop argument. Like with the moon landing, there's so many mic drop arguments. How is that the only time in history that the countries went somewhere that other countries haven't followed? Why did technology go in reverse? How did they live feed from the moon with the 4-second delay when it's more than a 4-second delay right now on CNN across the country? There's a million examples.
Damn right.
There's none of that here.
NASA is a liar all the time.
And I don't feel comfortable getting my ass beaten in a fucking debate. The ancients knew the Earth was a globe because they use math. Today's man can't even balance their checkbooks. All right, Johnny, well, I can balance my checkbook. I actually own a house, couple houses actually, rentals, because I tell jokes. You don't think I can balance a goddamn checkbook, you little cunt? How about you tell me the math to help me not get my fucking ass kicked? Guys, I said I would debate this guy because I thought it was a no fucking brainer.
Classic mistake, buddy.
Oh, my piano's back on. Yeah. The atom is a sphere, molecules are spheres. It's a great point if you're into the as above, so below Luciferianism, but that isn't an argument. What about time-lapse footage of the night sky showing stars going by? Maybe there's something. If the Earth was flat, you would be able to zoom in on Everest or Empire State Building to Khalifa Building from sea level anywhere in the world. Yeah, but if it was a sphere, you wouldn't be able to see
Okay. No, Yabbits that live in the woods and eat carrots. You would not be able to see Mount Everest from Texas because perspective and atmospheric occlusion and the density of the atmosphere. I mean, really? You think you can see to infinity? No. Perspective, man. Things get so small you can't see them anymore. The atmosphere becomes opaque at a certain distance. That's it. Whoever argues that you should be able to see the Eiffel Tower from Maine is a retard. I'm sorry.
More than 8 miles, I believe, without dropping 6 feet or 8 feet. The math is horribly not in our favor, ladies and gentlemen. No, there's when you're above the atmosphere, you're in orbit. You already had inertia from the rotation, and there's no longer air friction to slow you down, so you're orbiting around just like the moon is. That makes no sense, Dan. If you're going from west to east, let's say you're fighting the rotation, your inertia based on the your jets. So if you're going east to west, you have different inertia than west to east. Is that your argument? Is that your physics argument? You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. So if you're going west to east and you go same amount of gasoline and you have the same fucking inertia. So your argument is either that combustion rockets don't work in a vacuum because that's a problem.
Yep.
Or you're wrong. Fuck! The earth isn't flat.
Right.
The earth is not flat. This is fucking madness. The skyscraper on the coast, the sun will set on the base before the top. This would not happen with the sun hovering over a flat earth.
That has to do with atmospheric refraction, period. End of argument.
Move a light bulb around a room and watch the shadows. All other planets are round.
And perspective, the whole sunset thing. There's perspective and
Once you
refraction.
leave the surface of the earth, you still maintain the velocity you had while on the surface because of inertia. You don't fly off because of gravity. Okay, so let's say you're flying to the moon or Mars. You can't increase velocity after you leave Earth's gravitational field orbit. So the 17,000 miles an hour is the inertia they got from liftoff. You can't be fucking serious. These arguments work in your minds?
No,
so
they don't have minds.
17,000 miles an hour that the NASA fucking dumb lie thing up there is going. You think that they got that inertia from liftoff, and that's all they could ever have? They couldn't get any more inertia for more rockets and more partying up there? Come on, dude. Piano? Okay. I gotta go. This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person. This is... It's Earth's magnetic field. Is that your new proof that the Earth is round? Guys, no one knows why the Earth is round. I'm in a theater of people right now. This is a massive theater. And no one knows why the Earth is round? No one knows? People say just inertia, the difference between speed and velocity. You guys really think that proves that the Earth is fucking round? Hang on, Owen, compass works flat. Owen, nobody can explain it if it's not true. Good night, bro. This can't be reality.
It is, dude, and that's crazy. This is like a snapshot of his metamorphosis.
Subsequently do more research after that. No, if he wins, it's that you can't agree to disagree because of emotions. I need an argument why the fucking Earth is round. I gotta go. Please comment why the Earth is round. Please, physicists, mathematicians. I really, really don't want to believe the Earth is flat, guys. You think I'm ostracized now? I've crossed every goddamn line there is. Can we please not do that to me? Can someone just please give me some ammo here that isn't inertia? Inertia. Hit the like button.
Oh my God.
Hugepianist.com for my specials. PayPal.me/feedthebear if you want to feed that bear. Patreon.com/WDTL. But if the earth is flat, money won't matter because I will be alone in a little room, wondering what the point of any of it is. Why did we learn anything? Someone please help me disprove this.
Oh wow. That was so awesome. Like that was really awesome. Wow. Like that was like I said, this guy is definitely I think his heart's in the right place. Like I don't see him coming out the other side of this thing as a troll. But I wanted to share that with you guys because, as I said, Karen B posted that up on her channel. If you aren't subscribed to Karen B's channel, give her a sub. She's done some really awesome work. Love Karen B. And yeah, you guys just check out Owen Benjamin's stuff. He's got some decent stand up. He's a pretty good pianist, and he puts on a good show. And I think he's well on his way to being a legit flat earther, but we shall definitely see. Wow, did this hangout seriously go to my other screen again? This is crazy. So now I've got to hunt down how to change screens. So I can end the stream. Or maybe I can just close that window. Set up computer to use multiple monitors. There we go. So yeah, whoa, what the crap, man? Okay, can I do this now? Okay, so actually, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. But if you want to support the channel, you can always do so to www.paypal.me/themorgile or .com/themorgile. What in the world just happened? But I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, spread the word, spread the world, and peace out, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.